Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive broadcast for this Friday. I am so excited to introduce to you a very special guest and a dear friend of mine, Kim VanRyn. Now, just before I bring her on, I just want to let you know that Kim has been instrumental for us, for my family, because as you all know, I am raising a child with special needs. And we moved to Orangeville 2 years ago, almost in a panic that where was he going to go and what was going to happen in terms of his day program. So I met Kim and instantly there was a beautiful connection. And from that, Shani Abbas actually joined the program and has been part of Kim's tribe, as I call it, for the last 2 years. So I just want to acknowledge and honor the person that is handling a lot of the things for me and my family that is absolutely a crucial need that we have. So I'm going to bring Kim VanRyn on. We're going to talk about all things happy because, as you all know, this broadcast was set up to make sure that we are all getting news that's positive and that can feed our mindset and allow us to grow from this situation that we're in. So let me bring Kim on and say hello. Hi, Kim. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time to be here. As I mentioned on my intro, is that I've known you for the last couple of years and you've been an instrumental part in Shani Abbas's life. So I wanted to give you the floor and just kind of tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Right. So I am the owner and executive director of Branching Out Support Services, which is a service organization that is very young. It's just about 5 months old, but I've been working in the field of developmental services. I think I'm in my 4th year. And prior to that, I've had lots of different jobs. I'm a trained child and youth worker and have my BA in human services. So I worked in a variety of different human services jobs. I've worked with foster and adoptive kids, trauma and attachment cases, that kind of thing. I also worked in a retail shop and made handmade products for a while. So lots of different life experiences, but I certainly found my passion in developmental services. So I've been working here in Orangeville in developmental services for just over 4 years. And I like the way you put it in that I found my tribe here and it completely changed my life. I certainly find that my work is a lifestyle, not just a profession, because I work with families and families work in real time, as you know, and probably all the families that are out there watching. So I think that in order to be as productive and engaged as possible, I've decided to live my life with my people. That's really important for me. So that's kind of how I got to this place where branching out is a real thing. We have a day program that runs 5 days a week. We do quite a bit of consulting for other families in the county, offering one-to-one support, respite, and then we do lots of social and recreational events, which are the light of all of our lives. We do really fun things like have New Year's Eve parties and day away trips and different kind of field trips and stuff like that, in order to make sure that everybody in our community is included in the things that we all want to do, so that we can start to create a boundaryless society for everyone here. That's our passion and our mission and our vision all rolled into one. And I have the great delight of being able to work with just a phenomenal group of staff and parents and participants that just make this little thing happen every single day.
And that's so awesome that you have created this in terms of an inclusive kind of space, right? So everyone can enjoy, no matter what the differences are, in terms of being part of a community, you know, and that's such an important part, especially with, well, from my perspective anyways, you know, when I have a child, I call him a child, but a young man who's almost 30. Yeah. So, you know, and I know we talked earlier about, you know, the services that you provide vary for the different age groups, right?
Yes. Yeah, so we at Branching Out, it's really great because it's a private organization. We can be boundaryless and ageless. So we're able to serve whatever families come to us, and we're able to do that in a really, really creative way. I just think because we're not hemmed in the same way that big organizations need to be in order to keep things very organized and above board and transparent and honest. We're able to do all that stuff, but we're able to do it really creatively. And that's such a blessing. Like we are just, I don't know, someone said to us, there was something that someone said, like, can you do this? And we were like, why not? Of course we can do that. Oh, I think the guys wanted to take a bus trip. This was prior to COVID. The guys wanted, and when I say the guys, I mean the group of young people we have in our day program, wanted to take a bus trip to Brampton to go to the mall so that they could learn to use the bus, that they can visit the malls. We don't have a big mall here where we live. And we were just able to say, like, yeah, if we plan it and if we work together to make this happen, if that's what you guys want to do, that's what we can do, right? So I think that we're in a really unique position where we can serve people from 0 to 81. We actually do have a client who's in his 80s who comes to his art classes with us, who came on a bowling trip with us. We're able to serve everybody. And that's a really unique position to be in, and one that we want to take full advantage of so that people can, like, exactly like your show says, can thrive and not just survive.
That's beautiful. You know, and I think being part of a smaller community, because I come from Brampton, I felt lost there just because it was so large. And I think, you know, like you said, it's one of the perks of being in a smaller community. So I want to talk to you about, you know, as we hit COVID-19, and, you know, for me, it's all about looking at it from a point of a blessing, an opportunity to really change gears and figure out creatively how we can come out of this different, better, you know, more empowered, right? Empowering the groups we serve. So I want to find out sort of, what are you doing in terms of, you know, the fact that Branching Out in terms of the physical space is now closed. What are you doing to serve the group, and how are you managing it all with all of the restrictions?
So I think maybe a really good way to talk about this is, so we have a young man who's involved with our organization who is profoundly autistic and was having some difficulty processing why he couldn't come to Branching Out. Like the physical location, I think the concern for him was, like, where are my friends? And why can I not see them? Which, for someone who has a processing difference from the way you or I process, is a really big concern. So we made him a story just for him with lots of pictures so that he could really get a grasp on what was going on, to explain to him what was going on. But instead of telling him all the things that he can't do, like you can't go outside, you can't see your friends, we told him all the things that he can do, so that he was able to kind of say, okay, I know I'm not allowed to see my friends in person right now, but here's all the things that I can do. And I think when we look at it that way, something shifts. So we said to him, you can go for a walk with mom. You can see your friends on Zoom. So one of the things that we've been doing is having parties. And they are getting bigger. The computer screen becomes more populated, which is beautiful every single time we do that. So we had to explain to him what a Zoom party was, because he wasn't kind of able to visualize that without seeing it. You can do the Lego challenge. You can learn how to bake banana bread. So we were telling him all these things that he's allowed to do instead of what he's not allowed to do. And I would say that his mental health improved greatly as soon as we did that, as soon as we were able to be really clear about what's still available to us. And there's a lot still available to us. Like 4 weeks ago, I didn't think that I would be looking forward to every Monday and Thursday evening at 6:30 when we have our scheduled time that we get together as a tribe and we hang out and we dance and we sing and we do whatever we would do at day program. And we've set that as a scheduled thing so that our people have something to look forward to, that they have some consistency, and then they know exactly where they can find us, right? All of those things are what we can do. Does that answer what you asked?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the whole thing, is changing that perspective, right? I mean, if we look at it from the can't perspective, then we just look at obstacles of all the things we can't do. But, this is allowing us all to get creative, right? Like Zoom has been an amazing connector, right? For this group, for other groups, other people that are feeling this social distancing affecting mental health, right? So, and I think, when you said that when you created a story for him in a language he understood. So it's not just him. I think just adults like you and I, we all communicate in a very different way, or our understanding could be different. So if we change our communication style, it's received better, right? So I think this is just part of our new learning, is how do we communicate with different types of communication styles. So I know that you've done a lot of resourcing, meaning I see a lot of stuff coming from you in terms of what you can do, virtual zoo trips and virtual music and all of these different things. I know you have it on a Facebook page. Can you just touch on that in terms of all the resources that you're pulling in?
Yeah, so when our day program was closed, because we needed to do that for social distancing, we turned our Facebook page into a resource page for any family, individual, any person, anywhere could access, because it's on Facebook. I think the at is at the bottom of the page there, at Branching Out Supports, so that families had a place that they can go and find creative ideas. That could be videos, they could be stories, they could be art classes, karate classes, yoga classes, art ideas, sensory play, challenges. The internet is a huge place. There is probably something for everyone out there. But when you're at home, especially if you're at home with a person who has a difference and requires a lot of care, I don't think a lot of parents have tons of time out there to go like looking up scavenger hunts on Google when they are doing a lot of tasks that are a little bit different than they were before, because families right now have a little bit less support than they did before. So our main concern was, how do we fly support in any possible way we can?
And I think that's
the answers.
Right. So that's the creativity that popped in, right? Whereas now you're allowing, or not allowing, but just making sure that everybody has access to this. It doesn't matter if they're, whatever the difference is, or if not, whatever the family needs. It's really about bringing that for people that's easily accessible. The thinking is out of that to say, I'm just going to use what they've put in, because it's easy to go to that link or that page and find whatever might work for the family. And I think the idea of, if you can kind of have a schedule in the day for some parents or for some children and some young adults, it's really, really important that they know what's going on next. So it's nice to be able to look at some of these and maybe even create a schedule.
Sure.
Right. So I've had a couple of my own parents that follow me, ask about that, like, how are you managing sort of the scheduling of it? So I think that's really key, is to have those resources and then being able to pull them very easily.
Yes.
How are other organizations and you linking up? Like, I know with autism, we had a magic show yesterday that was done, and we were able to access that. And it's a free, and I think that's another thing I want to point out, is there's so much that's free online, right? That really, it's not putting more financial pressures on the families. Yes. Right now, that's not, where we should be and we can be. So what other organizations have you teamed up with?
So I'm doing some work with Autism Ontario, but just our local chapter, which is great, just because I know some of the families from that. So I think what we did this morning is there was a company in a town close to us who donated kits with paintable ceramic pieces in them. So we just delivered those to probably about 10 local families, so that they had some art to do. And that was through Autism Ontario. So shout out to Autism Ontario, who is providing quite a bit of free resources right now. We're working with Community Living Dufferin, but more in ways that we're providing resources to their group home workers, so that there's lots of people still working on the front line in residences all over the province, all over the country. And those people are inside with their individuals in the residences, because the residences are on lockdown for safety reasons. And they need lots of ideas of things to do with people. So we're working with Community Living Dufferin in order to provide some of those things. We're also working with the food bank. So our local food bank has turned in a little bit different. It's a food share now. So just the system of how people can access food has changed a little bit. A really great project that we were able to do is when we opened up Branching Out, we got a lot of donations from people, craft supplies, puzzles, games, these kinds of things. I could not even stand the fact that they were just sitting there not being used. So we went to Branching Out. I had a couple people go separately, and they took anything that we didn't really need or that we could give away, and there's lots we can give away, and they made activity bags to give to families who may be struggling a little bit more with financial resources at home with their kids. Can't go to the dollar store and buy coloring books, like that kind of situation, right? They weren't the prettiest activity bags in the world because we used what we had, and some of them were packed into like little clean garbage sacks. So yeah, they weren't the most professional looking things, but it was kind of like the heart of it, right? That we brought, I think we ended up giving over 50 of those away in the community. Like I brought about 40 to the food banks. Some went to Grand Valley, and then some were just dropped off around town. So maybe even over 50, and they're all gone. Like we don't have any left, because when we offered these to people at the food bank, we saw that they had kids with them, or we knew that they had children in their family. People were just lighting up to know that they could just get a few new things, right? It's just interesting, something for their kids to do. This was before school had really rolled out a lot of programming as well. So we're working with the food bank a lot too. I'm connected with Family Transition Place, who have had to rehome some women into different living situations, as the communal living in the shelter can't be the same as it used to be. I think that there are a lot of leaders in our area and elsewhere who are coming out of their silos and connecting to make things happen for families. And that's exactly what we want to be happening all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's it, right? It's a lifeline for families, and when you're in this uncertain place, it's nice to know that there is this kind of support that's out there. I do have to vouch that Shani Bus did get one of those craft bags or kits, and it was a real hit. He walked around with the book that was in there and just kept reading stuff. And anyways, it was a really good idea, and it brought that smile back, right? As soon as I said, "Oh, boss is dropping that off," and we had a drive-by visit even from one of your staff members, Sarah, and though it was across a driveway, and we were basically just waving to each other. I think it just brightened up his day. I want to just quickly touch on this. I know that there's a lot of stuff that you're doing for the children and the young adults and everybody to kind of keep people busy. The moms that are caring for some of these children that have maybe a higher level of care that's needed, what can you suggest? Because I know you do your yoga classes, and in terms of just sort of self-care for the moms, because that's just as important, because they need to be there for their children.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that my partner and I also take care of a young man who has a developmental difference. And we really try and make the mantra in our house mental health first. So you can set up beautiful schedules. You can really try and make things as structured as possible, which is very, very helpful. And that's great. It's great for all of us in this time when we have so many unknowns. And starting to find a rhythm and a groove in what we're doing, whatever that looks like for your family. But it falls apart sometimes, and it's okay to be honest about that. And then to say, you know what, if it falls apart, it falls apart. Our mental health, our family's mental health comes first. So I'm still doing yoga. I probably could be doing more of a home practice. So that's available for everybody from my Facebook page, and there's tons. Find what works for you, right? I think that's another really great thing. Find what works for you. If you find something on YouTube or somewhere else, if it's a meditation or a yoga, or if it is 5 minutes with a magazine in the bathroom, if that's what it is for you, just do it, right? Really, really hard to make it a priority. I understand that, because I'm still working on the front line. So I'm not even always at home with my family. I'm out and about, which can be scary sometimes. Yeah. But just do it. Like, find the one thing that you can do and try and make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah. And I think it's just being aware, right? Or conscious about it, saying, I just need a 5-minute break or a 10-minute breather or a quick walk, right? It doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but it definitely can bring in some more sort of energy so that you can continue with the day. And I think self-care is important for everybody, right? Not just for our groups or, in terms of our children that are having some differences in terms of how they're processing. I think self-care is self-care, and we have to be cognizant of it. So I really, really, I think, appreciate that you've shed some light into this. Is there anything that you want to sort of say in parting, just some, I don't know, happy, good stuff that people can walk away with today?
Well, I think that through all of this, we're really learning how to take care of each other. It's not in the way we thought. But maybe that's better because it has brought something out in many, many people that I connect with. And like I said, I'm still working on the front line. So I see a lot of people either through the computer screen, sometimes when I'm out and about. It's bringing something out in us that's a little bit more basic, which is take care of each other. It's happening all the time. Like I have many, many examples. And it's made me a lot more humble about thinking about how to connect with people, really having to think with that, not just passing by them at day program, right? Not just quickly making a phone call, shooting off an email, but really thinking through about how this is going to work best for everyone who we want to take care of. And it's been strangely beautiful. It's been a little bit different than I thought, but we're creating connection here. And I'm really happy about that. And so I think that is probably happening everywhere.
Yep. And I think that's the beauty of all of this, right? Is bringing people closer together. And I think we're getting back to our sort of the true sense of our being. We're spiritual beings, right? Having a human experience, as Wayne Dyer said. So I think it's getting back to that point of, all the frills are gone of all the hustle and bustle and the chat and the rat race. And, it's become more authentic, and it's like giving us time to reflect. So from that, I want to thank you for taking the time today. I know you're busy. I know you've got lots of stuff going on. So I appreciate the time. I want everybody to know that please share the video. You never know who it can touch and help. And Kim, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do for my son. So I know that Boss is his world, and you guys are making it possible that he could still be a part of it and not feel left out. So thank you again for that. I will see you again soon, of course, via Zoom on Monday at our Zoom party.
Okay, thanks, Nasira.
Okay, bye, Kim. So that was Kim VanRyn, as I talked about earlier, that, I was so excited to have her on our show. I hope that she shed some light for you. If you are, just watching this for the first time, please follow the show. It's every day, every weekday from 10 a.m. till about 10:15 or 10:30. So I wish you a wonderful, happy, blessed Friday. Please reach out to me if there's anything I can do. If you need to have a chat or you want to send me a private message. I wish you all a blessed Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday. Bye, guys.